good afternoon, Wellness Way Culture. I'm Dr. Jeremy Maxwell, and this is Think Differently Thursday. And we have a special guest with us today, Vikki Brown, and she is going to share her Wellness Way story with us. And I'm excited for that because, one, you guys probably just get sick of hearing me talk all the time, but I get excited when other people, experience the Wellness Way culture. And of all the people we've worked with over the last 3 years, I don't think anyone's beat Vikki in regards to engagement. I mean, if I could get just half of the people that we commune with on a regular basis to engage in the culture and what we have to offer, wow. Like, she loves to learn, which I absolutely love. You're always sharing new supplements outside of what we've got or books you've read. Or we were just discussing beforehand a restaurant that she had a great experience at here in town.
Papo's.
Papo's. It's a pizza place, which gave me a new idea to go talk with them. So maybe share with us a little bit about that, and then we'll get into your story.
Okay. Well, I'm an Uber Lyft driver, and I had picked up a young couple a couple weeks ago, and they were from St. Louis, and they were putting together Papo's restaurant. And they said, yes, they do have a gluten-free pizza crust. And so my daughter and I went by to try it today, and everything that they have on the pizza is organic.
Awesome.
And they have also the cauliflower crust and the gluten-free crust. Their cheeses are all brought in blocks. And for shredded cheeses, sliced cheeses, they do that themselves. Everything is fresh and handmade. So you don't have your shredded cheese, it's got the cellulose in it and such. I had their walnut, goat cheese, and walnut, goat cheese.
And craisins.
And craisins.
Yeah.
On a salad that was very good, awesome.
Yeah.
So it's well worth a try.
I love it. Yeah, we're going to head over there as soon as we can. So and that's what's great about Columbia and the Midwest here is, it's taken some time, but we have a great culture here in Columbia where we've got places that really help meet the needs of those who are dealing with allergens because unfortunately our culture is on the run constantly and they eat out way too much. So I think that's tends to be a really big deterrent for a lot of people maybe feeling like, oh, if I dive in and do this, I can't ever eat out. Well, no, that's not the case. We're going to help coach you on how to navigate that. And so I want to have Vikki share with you guys a little bit of her story because it's an amazing story. If you haven't had a chance, go back on our Facebook page when we posted today that we're going to go live because she has an amazing pre and post picture. We started, I think it was about late November of 2018?
17.
Or 17.
17.
Yeah, 2017.
It's been about 2 years now.
Yep. So, when she first came in, her main concerns were these 4 things, and then I'll let you kind of run with it. I'll ask a couple questions. So, psoriasis was number 1. She'd been dealing with that for a long time. Just her skin was really dried out, a lot up in the hair and skull area. She had a chronic cough and had some weight concerns and then high blood pressure. So, tell us a little bit maybe where your overall picture of health was, what you were really after, and how did you hear about the Wellness Way?
Well, I was on 5 different kinds of medications to start with. With the psoriasis, they put me on some medicine, $500 a month, and it's like I felt terrible after taking that. So I applied lotions to my hands and my face and my hair, like olive oil in my hair, coconut oil in my hair, and stuff like this. And I knew from my background that a lot of problems are caused by inflammation. And so I saw a note on Facebook about your inflammation clinic.
Right.
And so I went to that, and I listened to Dr. Maxwell. And it's like, yeah.
That's me.
I want to know more. And so I did. And so I started officially with them. I went in November and then officially started in January of the following year. And I had 12 food allergies. You're taking away my corn. You're taking away my eggs. You're taking away my brewer's yeast.
Right.
All the food, rice, took away my rice. It's like, what am I supposed to eat?
Yes.
But his wife helped me through the nutrition part of it and helped me learn. And things like eggs, okay, you mix flaxseed with water, and that that will make an egg substitution.
Yep.
So it's all these little things that I learned along the way. Like you said, I've done a lot of reading about it and everything. It's amazing.
For those of you who are joining late, just to let you know, this is Vikki Brown, beautiful young lady who's made some amazing changes. Dr. Flynn was asking, he jumped on a little late, so he missed the intro. But so yeah, like we got Dr. Flynn on here, Paisha, good to see you, Annie Visters from Green Bay, and then of course Amy's out watching up front there. So if you guys are new to watching Think Differently on Thursdays, you know, say your name, where you're from. Sometimes we get people from all over the United States watching some of these videos. So I always like to know where you're from. And even more important than that, share the video. Because, you know, people don't share this information. They don't know there's a better way called the wellness way. So, and I remember when you first came in, like your hands were really roughed up and just kind of cracked and almost bleeding from time to time.
Yeah, if I didn't use my lotion 2-3 times a day on my face, my hands, my neck, I looked like an old lady, literally an old lady of like 70 or 80.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference
was really
in that
bad.
picture.
The first time I came in and took my picture with you guys, my face was just red from a lotion that I'd used, and then I decided I got to use a different lotion. And so.
And then you started realizing it wasn't all in the lotion. It was getting rid of the triggers of inflammation. So I remember looking back on some of our notes, just within the first like 2 weeks, I think you said you dropped almost 8 pounds.
Yes, yes.
And was already noticing some other changes. So
it's like one day I woke up and it's like, I haven't had my chronic cough for a while. What's going on here? It was like not overnight, but it was just like all of a sudden, you know, this light bulb flashes and it says, your chronic cough is gone.
Are you sure you don't need to take your inhaler or any of those other drugs that they were wanting to put you on?
I am off of all 5 of my medications right now.
Yeah, so when you came in, you were on stuff for psoriasis. It was probably an immune suppressor.
Yeah, actually I was only on that stuff for 1 month and it made me feel so bad I quit and just went with natural stuff.
And then you were on high blood pressure medication.
Water retention and a couple 3 other things.
Yeah, so you guys hear that? 5 different medications that she's been able to get off of because she found out what those triggers were that were altering normal function. So that's, you know, when we have the hashtag I disagree, you know, what Vikki was disagreeing with was the fact that you were going to get used to living that way.
Yes.
Because that wasn't living at all.
No.
And you knew that. You knew innately that the body was not designed for sickness. And so I just wanted to make sure you could get on and share that story.
I have dropped a total of 37 pounds within the first year without really trying.
Yeah.
You know, not going out and I don't exercise except at work because I do a lot of lifting and pulling and pushing heavy stuff, but no exercising other than that.
Yeah. So when the body starts to work normally, the side effect of that is the pounds fall off.
Yes.
So Lisa Doherty says hello. And shared, I would expect nothing less, Lisa. She's also very high up on the engaging factor with our social media. She shares everything that we put out. And also working on her fantastic story herself.
Now, I won't lie, I do cheat once in a while. But when I do, my body tells me that I cheated, and I pay for it. So it's like, no more of that.
See, everybody has a little bit of sassiness in them. You know, I even have that. I mean, the desire for those things doesn't go away. But when the mindset changes and you see that the benefits of choosing right far outweigh choosing wrong, you know, you've paid for it, I've paid for it. But in the end, now the stressors that you have eliminated far outweigh the stressors you're keeping in your body.
Yeah.
So it does give your body a chance to recover and recoup and rebuild. You know, and I think, you know, being just about 2 years or a little more into this, you know, really I think the best is yet to come for you, because now, you know, you're probably a good 6 months in the black where you're not on fire, like you're living in that homeostasis where you're rebuilding tissue, you're rebuilding the hormones and cellular turnover instead of, you know, spending the majority of your time trying to put out a fire.
Now that's kind of like yesterday. I got busy. I've got a dehydrator and sliced up some beets, threw it in my dehydrator, and had beet chips, homemade, with a little sea salt on top of it.
And they're phenomenal.
Yeah, and I've got, don't tell him, sweet potato chips.
Hey.
But that's one of my so-called allergies this time around was sweet potatoes. But
and I
don't eat
find,
many.
you know, not that we're, you know, promoting that you know, cheat and do the wrong thing, but I had a conversation with an individual today, because as I reflect on, you know, when we teach people, when we talk to people, introduce them to people, you know, everybody's at different phases in where they're at mindset-wise, and some just, you know, in their head at the moment financially, they're like, I can't do any of this. And I was like, well, you can do something, you know. Like there's foods I can tell you to avoid, and that's free. Maybe you want a little more advice? Yeah, we'll have a little consult and go over some of that stuff. But I'm like, don't just ignore it, you know, because just because you got health care, you can go see your doctor, they're going to give you drugs. And we don't want to go that route. So I told a lady today, I said, listen, go make a little 15-minute consult, and let's just have a little nutritional powwow. Because I can go over, you know, stop eating bread, stop eating sugar, stop eating dairy. All these inflammatory foods, I can at least coach you in some things from a non-testing perspective that, hey, until you can save up to do X, Y, Z, at least begin to implement this. Because if you won't implement that, why would you pay money to find out more food you can't eat? So.
And I look at myself at my age, and I look at people 10, 15, 20 years younger than me that are in worse shape than I am.
Oh, man.
You know, and I thank the dear Lord for guiding me in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And what we appreciate about Vikki so much is, you know, she doesn't keep this to herself. I mean, she's constantly sharing it with people, trying to get them to come to our talks. You know, we got another autoimmune seminar next week, which is probably going to be even one more reason why we're looking to do webinars. It's going to be cold next week. I think it's like 10 degrees next Tuesday. But don't let that deter you from coming to hear an amazing message about autoimmune, because we are being told wrong information about the autoimmune. Because as you know, and as we teach, the body doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
It was genetically designed to perform normal things. So,
well, if we go back to the caveman period, you know, and they went out and they foraged for their own food and their vegetables, and they killed their own meat and everything. And they didn't have all these crazy cancer and high blood pressure and heart attacks and stuff like this, like what we have nowadays.
Yep.
And it's because everything's processed.
oh yeah.
You know, it's not fresh. It's not fresh off the animal. You know, and all these animals that we have nowadays are eating all these chemicals.
Yep. They're eating chemicals. People are injecting chemicals into them, and then they wonder, you know, why is our body shutting down and not performing the way it's supposed to? And so it's a crying shame, honestly, to see, you know, the direction that society's in, and that's why, you know, we do videos like this, bring people on like yourself to begin to change the way people think. Because we ask the question, how's that working for you? You know, we know how the wellness way is working for you, but how's that medical model of injections and drugs and surgeries? You know, those medical advancements are nice for saving lives and for emergencies, but they are not the tools that are needed to rebuild the house. Right. And that, like, it's like beating a dead horse. That fireman carpenter, you know, scenario and analogy is, if people really grasp that, I truly believe that we can change the trajectory of health. Because if you understand they don't have the tools to help you rebuild your house, then you'll stop going to them for that reason. You know, we're not saying don't go to them if you have an emergency. Just stop going to them to rebuild your house.
Yep.
And you will live long, well, and prosperous. And, you know, I don't make too many guarantees in my practice, but I guarantee if you do life with us, it will be better and you will function better, you know, at whatever degree you decide to dive in and engage. You know, I encourage you all to engage like Vikki, 100%, just leapt in and got all wet. It's like baptized all the way.
Well, I've really enjoyed my journey, and it's been life-changing, and I've learned so much, and I'm still learning.
I love it. And that's the key. We're always learning, and we're continuing to share that information as we, you know, really want people to, you know that they can live a life free of drugs. I mean, you guys have heard me say it, you know, at 45 years old, I feel way better than I did at 35. You know, I had some pretty bad degenerative disc issues in my neck. I had lot of pain going on, and started to kind of dive into the nutritional aspect a little bit, and we're seeing some changes, but it really wasn't until I began to apply the Wellness Way principles to my own life, and then it really changed, you know. So I understand the frustrations where people are coming from. I mean, I held the record in the office for 6 months. I had 31 food allergies, so when people start crying and complaining, I give them the old,
Yep.
the smallest violin, you know.
Well, my food allergies were 12, and when we retested, it was down to 6.
Yep.
Of course, the eggs and dairy are still out, but I'm learning to get around it.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's. I don't think I have any other questions. Let's see if anybody put some questions on here. Oh, Jean's on always. She said, "True, shortcuts have consequence. Stay on task."
Yep.
Very true. So, but yeah, I love that you guys are on. Please, again, like and share these videos. If you guys are on a replay, again, Vikki Brown, as you'll find when you watch the video. But we are doing our next autoimmune seminar next Tuesday called Reverse the Curse, and I really encourage you guys, get on our Eventbrite page and check it out. Come watch us. It is a moving event. It will definitely open your eyes to what's out there. Autoimmune is on the rise, getting worse than cancer. Ladies, you are the most at risk for this. 20 to 40 years of age is the range that's being affected, and they're taking their lives. I mean, they're not committing suicide that way. They're dying at a massive scale in that range. And I just think, you know, from the future, you know, that's what I love about where I'm at now is I see so far ahead and try to plan and prepare my own health, my family's. You guys, that's the age when we're making babies.
Yep.
And if we're to, you know, leave a legacy, how are we going to do that when our mamas cannot grow these miracles in their bodies the way they were designed to? So, you know, we're passionate about that. We want to change families' lives, and it's important that you guys get to that. Take a listen, but definitely be on the watch, as we will be changing some things up a little bit and doing some webinars online to just try to make it as easy and simple for you to learn about the Wellness Way here in Columbia. So, anything else you want to add before we head off?
Nope. But just to let them know that your way of life works.
Well, I
It
appreciate
does.
that. The Wellness Way is a
From
great way, and you have been a great example and inspiration not only to us but many others, and I hope
tell
that
a
they
lot
see
of
your
people
story.
about y'all.
Awesome. All right, well, you guys, thank you for being on today. I appreciate always your engagement and sharing and liking these videos. We look forward to being back with you again next Monday on J Squared Live. Be sure to catch Dr. James this weekend, as he's probably either going to share a recipe or probably go over a little herb that he'll have some insight on. So we'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend.